So who says that Friday practice is boring in Formula 1? We had 4 red flags in free practice 2 alone, and 2 of these are going to be the subject of this video. I'm of course referring to the grass fires that caused 2 red flags at the end of free practice 2 for the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix. Now, this isn't the first time that we've seen grass fires in Formula 1 by the side of circuits, but to see 2 in quick succession here is odd to say the very least. Now, for those that weren't watching live or haven't caught the highlights, I don't know if they're going to put that in the highlights as I record this. I don't think the highlights are out yet for free practice 2, but I've done my review. If you want to check that out, of course, I do appreciate it. I'll put it at the end of the video. But yeah, we had 2 grass fires basically, and a lot of people are wondering, how did this happen? What happened here? Why is the grass caught on fire on 2 occasions? Well, put simply, if you look at the circuit in Japan, it looks very dry. The grass looks rather dry. It looks it's not quite as green and lush as what you would probably expect normally this time of year in Japan. It does seem like they've gone through a bit of a dry spell recently, or at least that part of Japan has. So because of that, with the grass being dry, anybody that lives in somewhere that's used to forest fires, somewhere like California or something like that, will tell you that it doesn't take much at all to set a huge fire off. Now, what is the catalyst for this? What is the spark for this? Well, literally, it is the sparks from the Formula 1 cars that have most likely caused this. Now, the 2 grass fires, I believe, looking at the footage that I saw, I think one was by the spoon curve and one was by the Degners, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't really go into detail about it on the official report. I was just watching on the telly, and it was kind of hard to see from the camera angles of the helicopter they were showing you where it was on the track. But if it was around those parts of the circuit, it would make sense, because the sparks fly up from Formula 1 cars when they're going through massive loads. Now, of course, we know that you want to run your Formula 1 car as low as possible to the ground to be as quick as possible. Just ask Ferrari, who ran their car too low in the Chinese Grand Prix and ended up getting Sir Lewis Hamilton disqualified as a result. That shows you how on the edge they are with these things. So, particularly through high-speed corners, which of course the spoon curve is, which of course the first Degner absolutely is a rapid corner, you will see cars very much spraying sparks as they skid along the floor of the actual circuit on the actual tarmac itself. You'll get sparks being thrown up. Now, most of the time these sparks, they either dissipate in the air or they just sort of hang around and then just put themselves out on the floor. But unfortunately, in this case, they have made their way to the grass on 2 occasions and sparked small fires. Now, thankfully, the marshals acted very quickly. They got these fires out with fire extinguishers, but it's absolutely bizarre to see this happening on 2 occasions, and to be honest, I'd be a bit worried if I were the Japanese Grand Prix officials, because if you look at the weather forecast, tomorrow is pretty much meant to be the exact same weather. And something else to keep in mind as well is that this is in, I believe it's Mie prefecture in Japan, which is right by the sea, and it's very windy. Again, these windy conditions very much contributing to fires starting. It allows the sparks to be spread further afield, so they're less likely to land on the actual tarmac and just go out. They're more likely to go into the grass, and the increased amount of air, the extra oxygen that is being put onto the actual grass, that will also make it easier for the fire to start. Forest fires, for example, they very much do go with the wind. Wind is the start of that, and wind does keep them going. So that's something to bear in mind too. But yeah, the weather is meant to be exactly the same tomorrow, same temperature, meant to be dry. So I honestly think that they need to do something about this while the cars aren't running. I would genuinely consider watering the grass, particularly in those areas where it is more likely to see sparks, the faster parts of the track. Now, for Sunday's race, I'm not too worried. It's meant, according to the weather forecast, it is meant to rain on Sunday morning and then be dry and cloudy as the day goes on into the afternoon. So I'm not too concerned about it for the race, but in qualifying in particular, these cars will be running at the fastest speeds, particularly through the corners as well, than that they have at any other point in the weekend. So if we're going to see more grass fires, it's most likely going to be in qualifying. And also free practice 3 too, that is the car's final chance to practice qualifying runs before getting to qualifying. So both of those sessions carry a very high risk of these sparks being flown up and unfortunately starting another grass fire. Now, it's interesting because this isn't the first time this has happened in Formula 1. If you remember last year, in my practice review, I said 2023, but of course, there wasn't a Chinese Grand Prix in 2023. There was last year, though, and we did see this happen. Now, I don't think they ever got to the bottom of what caused this. We did see a small grass fire at the Chinese Grand Prix. I believe it was like in sprint qualifying or qualifying, one of the two. But we did see a small fire on the grass because of this. Now, there were some theories behind this. It wasn't just that the fact that the grass was very dry, but there were theories that basically the Chinese officials sprayed the grass with some sort of chemicals that made it look more green. I know it sounds ridiculous, but genuinely, they apparently did that. The other theory as well at that time is the fact that the Chinese Grand Prix circuit in Shanghai is actually built on an old swamp, and because of that, there's more methane in the air. And anybody that knows anything about methane is that you can light it pretty easily on fire. It is quite a flammable gas. So, I mean, just ask any kind of gas power plant. That's basically what they do. So, yeah, that was the theories for there. But as far as I'm aware, the Suzuka circuit is not actually placed on top of a swamp. That'd be news to me if it is. It's right by the sea, so I don't think it is. Again, prove me wrong if if that's the case, of course, and let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's an interesting one that this has happened. If the Japanese officials have sprayed the grass green at Suzuka, they've not done a very good job because it's looking quite brown and quite a deep yellow rather than green. So I don't think it's the case they've sprayed anything on there. But hey, again, prove me wrong if that's the case. I want to hear what you have to say about this. But yeah, it's a little concerning. It's not panic stations by any means, but it would be a pretty bad look for the Japanese Grand Prix if this happens again tomorrow, I'll be honest. I mean, this is a race that I love, and I don't want it to be under threat by any means, but yeah, they do take the safety very seriously in this part of the world, of course, like they do everywhere in Formula 1, but I do find it interesting as well. I mean, I'll watch the highlights on the Formula 1 channel, but conspicuously on the official report for practice, they've only mentioned that grass fire once. They've not mentioned the second grass fire on any social media as far as I can tell, or on the report. Just that one. There were two, actually, and you'd never know that just by looking at the reports or the social media feeds. But I'm just commenting. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that as a fact right now. They might tweet about it later after this video goes out, while I'm editing it, probably knowing my luck. But I'm just saying they've been very ominously quiet, the Formula 1 feeds, about that. It's not a great look for them, in honesty. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. What's actually caused this? Have they sprayed something on the grass? Is it something that I don't know? Because to my eyes, it just looks like dry grass being lit on fire by a spark. Simple as that. But it's very odd this has happened twice. We've never seen this before at the Suzuka. We've only seen it once before at Shanghai. So interesting. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see some more like this. And yeah, our exclusive interview with Mario Andretti will be out later today on our YouTube channel. So look at the premiere for that. 7 p.m. it kicks off. Join the live kind of broadcast effectively of the premiere for that. I would really enjoy to see some of you guys there in the comments. I'll be watching along as well and replying on my personal account. So yeah, have a great day, guys. I hope we have a fantastic and safe rest of the weekend for Japan. No more fires, please.